Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedrunning video. So I do just want to start off this video and apologise because sadly on Sunday I wasn't actually able to upload a video. I've been really ill recently and I talked about it in my last video on Friday, and it just got to Sunday and I was so unwell, so I couldn't actually bring myself to making a video, so hopefully you guys understand. But in today's video I'm going to be giving the Goths a completely new house. Now I have actually built a house for the Goths before, which I did in a collaboration video. If I can find it, I'll put a little card on the screen now, so if you're curious. But that house is kind of more traditional and more like the actual Goth house that we get when you first load into the game. And I don't know if I'm completely set on having that for my save file, and so I thought I'd just play around with it a little bit today and just experiment with a different style with them. I know they are a very traditional kind of family and their house that EA made for them is very traditional and it's very dark, but I just completely went the completely polar opposite with this one and decided to give them a more modern house, and it kind of fits in with my save file of Willow Creek as it goes. So as you can kind of see, I've already done the main structure of the house, so I was actually using a reference picture when I was building this. I'll either put a picture on the screen now of the house or have a link in the description box down below. And I absolutely fell in love with this house and I really just loved the character of it. Although I felt like it probably could have been placed in Newcrest, I just really wanted to give it for the Goths because it is quite a dark house and I still want to give some Goth-like features in the house that I built for them in my save file. I just felt like it really suited them, so I decided to build it here in Willow Creek. This house is still built on their original lot, which their original house was built in from EA. I'm not actually going to attempt to try and say the lot name. It's in the top left corner if you are curious. I can never actually pronounce it right and I'm not the best at pronunciations, so I'm going to leave that one for you to read it. But as you can kind of see, the main structure of the house is coming together now, and at the minute it's got this kind of vampire brick on it, but I do actually go and change that. The house in the reference picture that I was looking at had this really lovely brick, and you could tell even from a picture that it was a really just kind of nice brick. I know that nice is not a really very good describing word, but it really just stood out in the reference picture, and I tried to replicate that when I was building this house, but I just felt like it really wasn't working, and so I decided to switch up and use this base game brick, which I 100% prefer so much. But now I'm moving on and just doing the terrain painting, and I actually experienced a glitch when I was doing this. So there's a glitch in the game at the minute, so sometimes if you're terrain painting, I don't know what just kind of causes it or whatever, but sometimes all your terrain paint will be completely deleted, and it is so annoying because I did all this terrain painting and I was absolutely loving it and I spent a lot of time on it, and then I came back around the front and it just all went, and I was just so annoyed because at that point I hadn't actually saved the lot. And so then I had to go and just redo it to my best of abilities. I think I did get it pretty spot on, but it was still annoying that that's a glitch in the game. But now I am just moving on and just doing the landscaping. So one thing that I tried to put into this house was I tried to make reference to the red in the Goth household, because in their original house it's a very dark and traditional house, but it's got a lot of red in it, especially in Bella Goth's bedroom. And so as this was a modern house, I knew that I couldn't make everything just red and just how it was in the old house, because I wanted this to kind of be a fresh new house with them. So I tried to just do subtle hints of red in the gardening, and so I do actually use this rose bush quite a lot when I'm doing the gardening, just because I still wanted little bits of their personalities to be in the exterior, but I just didn't want to overpower it too much with the red. And also in the bedroom, so in the kind of main bedroom, the master bedroom, whatever you want to call it, I did actually end up making that a black and white and red room, and so I felt like it's still got a little bit of the Goth household in it, but obviously it doesn't have to be for the Goth household, or it could be for the Goth household because it's still got that subtleness of the red. But now I am just finishing up the landscaping, and one of my favorite things that I did with this house is these rocks just kind of around the outline of the flower beds. I just think they work so well, and I just think it ties the whole house together so perfectly. But I'm actually just going to finish up the exterior front part of this house, and I'm going to move on to the back garden in just a minute. I don't actually show the landscaping for the garden because it's the exact same as the front garden, and I just felt like sometimes it can get a little bit repetitive. But now I am just smoothing out the terrain just by the little pathway leading up to the front door, and that is something that I find quite frustrating in the game, when sometimes you want to just kind of have a nice smooth path, but it kind of goes all like jagged and zigzaggy, and it's really annoying. So I did just go around and just smooth it out so it was just kind of a little bit seamless. But now I am moving on to the back garden. So in the back garden I did actually want to make room for a pool, but I just couldn't do it. And in their original house, their garden is quite small anyway, and so I didn't add too much. I was actually thinking about adding a like hot tub or a jacuzzi, but in the end I decided to make it kind of more family friendly and just add a load of kind of kids activities for Alexander. So we do have a little swing set and a monkey bar set, and then we also do have some planters in the corner, and then we also do just have like a little barbecue area as well, which I think is so nice with a really big patio table. But I am now just finishing up the back garden, and I'm just going to go around and add some terrain paint so it's just not completely grass. I do decide to go for this more tone texture one, which I really do like. But now I'm actually going to move on into the interior. So as always, I do actually do the wallpapering and flooring off camera, but today I actually had to cut out the floor plan footage because originally I was planning this to be a 2-story house, but when it came to it, the upstairs, the roofs were cutting in and it just wasn't very ideal. So I do actually move the camera around so much that I felt like if I would have kept it in, it would have made you feel a little bit dizzy. So I will actually include a screenshot of kind of like a bird's eye view of the house, just in case you're curious how the floor plan is actually set out, and maybe you want to replicate this on console. So I will leave them in at the very end in the screenshots. But now I'm actually moving on to the kitchen. So like I said, I did do the wallpapering and flooring just off camera because it takes me way too long to decide, but I did actually use my classical base game wooden flooring. This is my favourite one, and it's the one that I typically tend to use in all of my houses. And then I also just use this Parenthood tile, which I absolutely love, and I especially love these cool kitchen counters. The way that they just contrast together, I just think is so lovely. And one of the things I just think makes this room is the massive kind of cool kitchen shelf. I just think it's so cool. It's got these little photo frames on and these little jars, and it kind of looks like you've got cereal up there, and I just really like it, so I decided to add it into this house. I did also decide to kind of double up the kitchen to be part kitchen, part dining room. So you can kind of see on one side of the kitchen we have a dining room table. I use the one from Get Famous with, I believe they're City Living chairs, and then on the opposite side I just have some cool kitchen bar counters, and then I use, I believe it's the Get Famous bar stools. And I didn't really know where I was going to fit the dining room table in this house, and as the kitchen was so big and there was so much space, I felt like it would have looked really strange with loads of extra counters that wasn't needed, and so I did decide just to kind of make that into part kitchen and part dining room. But moving on, I've already started furnishing the lounge room. So in this room I do just have the same base game flooring that I have in the kitchen, and this flooring actually goes in all of the bedrooms and the hallway. The only rooms that it's actually not in is actually the bathrooms, because I felt like it would be a little bit weird if I had wooden floors in bathrooms. But in this room I do also just pair it with this white wallpaper, which by the way I do also use this in kind of like the master bedroom and then also the hallway. But in this room I do just have the City Living curved TV. I also pair it with 2 Get Famous sofas in both the black swatches, and then I also pair it with this Get Famous rug. And I really wanted a pop of colour in this room because all the colours were very just minimal, and I wanted something else. I felt like it was kind of a little bit dull at this point until I added the rug, and then it just brought so much colour into the room. So I'm really happy that I did that, and it's actually one of my favourite rugs that we have in the game in that swatch. But now I'm actually just doing this little bookcase in the area. So I didn't want the house to be too cluttered, but if there was a bookcase or there was kind of surfaces which I could clutter up, then I was going to take advantage of that and use them. So I do actually just use a couple of different kind of sculptures and a couple of these new vases or vases. I don't actually know which one it is, so I say both each time, but I just clutter it up with all these different items just to kind of make it look a little bit more lived in. And that bookcase, as you get it, is actually quite a bare object. It's got some kind of fake books in it, so just kind of for appearance, but I feel like whenever you put it down you kind of just need to clutter it up a little bit more. But as you can kind of see, I am just going around the lounge room now, and I'm just adding these little tables and chairs here and there, and then I'm actually just going to add a little kind of desk area in the corner because Bella Goth's husband, which name I cannot say, so I'm not going to attempt it, but he is a writer, I believe, and so I still wanted there to be a computer for him to use. I believe in their previous house it could have been in their lounge room, and so I just decided to put it in this room as well. Plus their bedroom wasn't really capable of having one in there because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to have a chest of drawers, so I decided to put it in this lounge room. But over here I am just finishing up this area now, and I just kind of finish it off with the painting just to kind of tie the room in all together. And I use this City Living one in just kind of like this black, white and red swatch. Like I said, I still wanted like little elements of Bella Goth's original house in this house, and so that's why I decided to pick that painting that just has subtle hints of red in. But moving on, as you can see, I've started furnishing one of the bathrooms. So I haven't actually mentioned it yet, but this house does actually have 2 bathrooms in it and 3 bedrooms, although on this kind of like top floor there's only 1 bathroom and 2 bedrooms. The other bedroom and the other bathroom are actually in the basement, And because it was kind of like a weirdly shaped house, I didn't really know where I could fit in an extra bathroom and another bedroom, and so I decided to make a basement for the house. And so in the basement is Cassandra's bedroom, and there's also an extra bathroom down there as well for her. I just didn't feel like it was necessary to show both, because I always do this anyway, but I felt like bathrooms are really boring to watch furnished, but I still want to include one just so you can kind of see how I've done it for the house. And so I do only show this one. You won't see the one downstairs. The one that Cassandra has in the basement is pretty much the same, although she just doesn't have a bathtub in her room, and she just has, or in her bathroom, she just has one single shower. But other than that, it's basically the same. But now moving on, I'm just doing the little hallway area as well. So in here, it's just quite bare. I didn't really want to clutter it up too much because it was quite a small and kind of narrow hallway. So I didn't want to clutter it with loads of different objects and kind of make it look even smaller than what it was. And so I just decided to do a few paintings on the wall and a couple of rugs, and that's basically it. But now I am actually moving on and doing Alexandra's room. So in here we just have kind of like this little, I believe it's a kid room stuff or a Parenthood bed. I think it's actually a Parenthood bed. I'm not completely sure. It's one of the two, and I absolutely love it because the bed actually kind of has this kind of camo swatch, and it really went well with the wallpaper that I picked out for his room. And so I decided to choose that one. And now I'm actually just doing his little wardrobe area. So this is something that I started to do a little while ago, but I just kind of haven't been doing it recently. And so I decided that I wanted to do it in this house, and that is just kind of clutter up children's wardrobes. If they have like taller wardrobes, clutter it with loads of different toys above. When I was younger, I personally had loads of different toys and just loads of different items on top of my wardrobe because I was younger, and it's just where I placed them, and I kind of want to replicate that realism into my Sims houses. I just haven't done it in a while, so I decided to do it in this house. But now I am just finishing up his room. I did actually add quite a few paintings in this room, and I actually used a few of them in some swatches that I don't ever typically tend to go for. I used one kind of wall decal in this kind of like Action Man swatch, or this Transformer swatch. I don't know what it exactly is, but I've never actually used them, and so I decided that I'd use it in this room, kind of like a first time thing, because as I've never used it before. But now I am actually going to go around the room and just finish it off. I do actually add this little height chart just by the little bedroom door, and it's actually one from My First Pet Stuff, and it actually comes in some really adorable swatches, and so I thought it would be really cute if I just add it by his little bedroom door. But now I'm actually moving on and going in and doing the master bedroom. So in here I use a vintage Glamour bed, I believe, and then their base game kind of little bedside tables. At the minute, the bed and the bedside tables are kind of in the center of the room, but then as I went around, I was trying to fit a chest of drawers in it, and I just couldn't figure out how to place it so everything could be usable and you could use everything in the room. And so I do actually decide to kind of shift it over just so the bed is more towards the kind of wall with the window on, rather than kind of in the center of the room. Just then I could kind of have a chest of drawers, and then your Sims will be able to move around the room more freely. But in this room, as you can kind of see, it was originally this kind of beigey color, and then I completely switched it out because I really wanted that red painting from, I believe that's a Dine Out painting, to be kind of like a feature in the room. Like I said, and I've said it multiple times in this video, I still wanted to kind of have a subtle hint to the original Goth House, and so I tried to put some red paintings here and there and red flowers. And in this bedroom, as it was Bella Goth's bedroom, I decided that I'd do this really big grand red painting. But now I'm actually just going to finish this room off, and I still wanted to tie that painting in a little bit more, so I do actually just go in, and I believe this is a base game rug, and I just add it underneath the bed, and then it just kind of ties the room in all together. But now I'm actually moving on to the last room in this house. So this is the basement, and this is where Cassandra sleeps, and I absolutely love this bedroom. Obviously I'm talking about this house as if it is just for the Goth household. You can have whatever kind of family you want to live in this house, it does not matter. But when I was designing this, I was kind of designing it for the Goth House household. But now in this bedroom, I kind of went for a purple theme, and I've always seen Cassandra to kind of be a Sim that loves purple, and so I decided to make it kind of like her wall colour. But in here, I absolutely love it. I use so many different wall decals and fairy lights, and I just think it's such a really cute teenage room. I would absolutely love this room when I was younger. But in here we do just have this little desk area. We also have this bed, which I believe is from Seasons, and I wanted to use it in that swatch because it kind of has some purple pillows, and the purples and the navies just tie the room in all together. As you can kind of see, I did add this kind of flower arrangement above her bed as well. They are actually a flower decal, which I believe is from Seasons, and they come in so many different swatches, and they did actually come in a dark swatch, which kind of matched her room perfectly. But now I'm just decorating her little chest of drawers, which is actually opposite her bed, and when I was actually doing this area, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to go on top, and so in the end I just made this little TV area, and then I added this kind of little seating area just at the bottom of her bed, so her and her friends can sit there and just play games and watch TV or do whatever they want to do. But anyway guys, I'm actually going to wrap up this voiceover here. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching me build the Goth, a completely new modern house. And as always, if you do like my content, then please subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speed building video. Bye guys.